welcome to Hope for Survival YouTube. Welcome back. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks, huh? My apologies that I haven't posted in the last couple weeks. It's been for a couple of reasons. A minor reason has been that I have been on travel for multiple weeks in a row now. I'm on travel this week and part of next week. So, as you can see from my background, I'm in my temporary home away from home. And I wanted to take a few minutes out to come here to YouTube and put out a video message, kind of on the topic of the video, and I've been giving this some thought, and I want to try to explain this so that everyone can understand it. But I hope you're doing well, and I hope everything is going good for you as we transition to May and this crazy world we're living in. It definitely is what's right, what's right's wrong, and what's wrong's right, and what's up's down and what's down's up. Just craziness everywhere we look, so it seems. Over the last few months, I've been posting videos and posting the newsletter and doing Zoom calls with a lot of guests, and occasionally posting on the HFS Signal app. But that's been less the last few weeks. Something that I always have talked about over the last 5 years is three of the most important steps in preparedness, aside from getting out of debt, is your physical, psychological, and faith preparedness within yourself. And then, of course, comes all the preparedness steps for you, your family, and your community. And over the last few months, it could be because of a busy schedule. It could be because of just growing tired, which wears on you in different areas, physical and psychologically. I've always stated that we needed to keep our head in the game and keep our feet grounded, that we can't lose touch with reality. And over the last few months, I started to struggle a little bit with the psychological side of things and keeping my feet grounded. And no matter how hard I was trying to do so, it was getting harder and harder. So basically, based on past life and training and so forth, I needed to step away and to recalibrate my brain with my feet. I needed to ensure that what I was reading and seeing was being processed in such a way that I kept my feet grounded. So we took timing right now was everything. Miss Lucy and I took a vacation for 9 days last week, beginning the Friday prior, and through all of week till Saturday, and it was wonderful. It was a great trip. It was very relaxing, even though even though we drove about 1,600 miles total round trip from East Tennessee through Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri, and Oklahoma, and then we worked our way back. And it was a good time for us in a lot of ways, because we were able to spend some quality time with good people. The St. Louis leg of the trip was the two of us, and we had some time to do a boat ride and go up in the arch and catch a baseball game, and so forth. And then I went over to Branson, where it was very good, beautiful area of the country, and two of our dear friends and HFS sister and brother from our neighborhood in East Tennessee. By chance, they were there at Branson while we were there, so we got some quality time. Got to go out on the lake and enjoy it very much. And then we drove up to Tulsa, where we went to visit a dear family that we met at Heritage Life Skills 5 years ago. And they were kind enough to bring us into their home with their family. And we enjoyed it greatly, and we had some great conversations on faith and preparedness. And even though it was a short visit, it was very relaxing and rewarding, which I'll explain. And the storms were hitting in Oklahoma the day before we departed, so the day we departed on Friday, working our way back, we were kind of running ahead of the storm with high winds and a lot of rain, pretty much till we hit Paducah, Kentucky. Then on Saturday, we drove through Nashville across to the Cumberland Plateau, and we got to spend several hours with Mrs. Festus and Festus, and had a wonderful visit. It was very relaxing, and we broke bread and enjoyed it very much. And the timing of the visit was very good, and it was needed. So the point that I'm sharing this with you, it was a busy trip with a lot of stops, and an effort to relax. But anywhere I go, I'm always observing my surroundings, and that's what I wanted to share with you here. And that is, day in and day out, watching videos, reading articles, taking in information and processing it, but always trying to maintain a level of sanity, keeping your feet on the ground, meaning you're not inside your house and the world's melting away, okay? It is kind of like reading a story and not believing everything you see and hear or read, but just going and validating that information, okay? Because I had lived in St. Louis 30 years ago, I was somewhat familiar. I spent a lot of time down in St. Louis going to baseball games downtown, and so I was kind of familiar with the makeup or the flavor of the city. Now it's been 30 years, so one could expect things to change. So, so one of the things that stood out to me greatly. And I pointed this out to Miss Lucy during the time one evening. And my comments, my comments are not meant in any way other than to tell you what I'm going to tell you. It's not a racist comment. I'm not disparaging any group of people or anything of that nature. 30 years ago, when you would go to the city, whether you were at the baseball park and you had the workers around the baseball stadium, or you were downtown eating, or maybe riding a cab, or riding a bus, 30 years ago, you predominantly witnessed Caucasian and African American people. This trip, the thing that greatly stood out to me, whether they are tourists, whether they are citizens, I don't know. But the overwhelming appearance of Middle Easterners, Indians, probably some Pakistani, they were everywhere. Okay? And they were in groups. They weren't ones and twos. They were 10, 15, 20 people. Now, we can sit back and say they're A, they're B, they're C, which honestly doesn't matter. The point is, the city was saturated. Okay? That was one point that stood out to me. All cities have homeless people. St. Louis is a large city, but I can tell you we only came across one homeless camp down in the city, the downtown city area. It was on the bank of the Mississippi River, and it was maybe 20 to 30 tents. So because historically St. Louis, Missouri, not East St. Louis, Illinois, but St. Louis, Missouri, is a very clean city. And even though they have ranked in violent crime in the top 5 almost year after year after year over the many years, I think they're number 5 right now. And 30 years ago, they were like number 4. All right. But in the downtown city area, it was extremely clean, just like 30 years ago. There was like no trash, none on the streets. The 90-acre park around the arch was spotless. It was manicured. It was super nice. And at the edge of that 90-acre park is where we encountered the homeless camp on the river. So my conclusion would be, or assumption would be, that the encampments are somewhere else and possibly further down the river, up the river, outside of the eyes of visitors and tourists. The city has pushed them out into those regions. I don't know. So that was pretty evident. We stayed in a very nice hotel right there at the Arch and the river, the Hyatt. And it was interesting as well, where historically you would have found many of the floor maids cleaning the rooms and jobs like that. 30 years ago, you would have found mostly African Americans doing those jobs. But interestingly now is all of the workers are foreign. Almost everyone encountered, from the valet to the snack area where you could get dinner, or the room cleaning services, they were all foreigners. The young lady who was cleaning our room did not understand a word of English at all. So having traveled abroad a lot over the years, one of the things that came to mind for me was how in the Philippines, South Korea, Israel, and other countries, almost all the services were imported. In Saudi Arabia, they were Filipinos. In South Korea, they were originally Filipinos, and they basically pushed them out, and they were using young Russian ladies. Okay. In Israel, much of the services back then were also young Russian ladies, and they would all be brought into these countries on these special deals where they advertise in their countries where they can make lots and lots of money. If they come to that country, when they arrive, the country takes their passport, and the new arrivals have to work for years to pay back their debt to the company of the country who hosted them in. And they're basically treated like slaves. I don't know if that's the case, but that was the first thing that came to mind, was that possibly the same type of deal is maybe being used on these individuals. It's not an accusation. It's just a wonder. Okay. So that was overwhelmingly apparent that there had been at some point a major transition of the workforce. Okay. Another observation that really stood out on this trip was driving across Missouri and then up into Oklahoma, about 3 hours into Oklahoma to Tulsa, outside of Tulsa. There were at least 15 to 20 semi tractor trailer 18-wheelers on the highways that on the rear two doors on the back of the cargo trailer, there's a left door and a right door, right, and they open. On the upper top left, I noticed a placard on the top of the door. It was probably 30 to 36 inches wide by 18 to 24 inches down. They were white and they had green painted logo and letters. And it had the Arabic sickle and palm tree, and it had Arabic lingo on it. I don't know what it said. And over a period of time out in that region, like I said, there were probably 15 to 20 of them. Okay. I have since learned on that topic that someone in the know who would know when I was following up on it has told me that several of the Middle Eastern princes went together and bought a trucking company in America. And they are hauling cargo for a specific federal sponsored program that moves food and consumables. Good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just sharing the information. And sometimes when you're on a highway and you see semis that don't pull into way stations and you wonder, well, why that truck didn't stop and they just keep going, is that they have waivers from the federal government that the cargo they're hauling isn't checked, nor is it weighed, which could really alert you and raise your eyebrows to things that they could be hauling. Everything from things that maybe go boom to lots and lots of humans in the day and era that we're living right now. So, again, I'm not accusing, I'm just sharing information. Okay? So, the other thing that kind of stood out, kind of was bizarre, was this weather pattern that's setting over Nebraska and Oklahoma. And it kind of hit on Thursday, Friday, and it proceeded to stay in and around that area for several more days. With tornadoes, just bizarre weather. And I don't know if you caught this or not. Today would be Wednesday, May 1st. But you can Google it and find the article. There was a storm that hit a town in Oklahoma yesterday evening, I do believe, or yesterday, where there was one specific tornado that came through a path of causing destruction, and then it turned and circled back and came right up the same path a second time. Now, that's a little bizarre. But there was also a tornado that was rotating backwards. Okay? It was the funnel was turning in the opposite direction. And the meteorologist was baffled. I work with a meteorologist every day, and he's probably got 40 to 50 years of experience, and he was totally baffled by it, and said he had never heard of such a thing. And then we started conversing about conspiracy stuff like HARP and chemtrails and geoengineering, things like that. So that was really, really bizarre. Okay. And we, in the alternative side, we can sit and say these are caused by this and they're caused by that, and at the end of the day, we still have the same result. My point is, there are more and more of these occurrences that are happening around us on the left, while everyone is stuck watching the right. You know, the trials in New York, the trials in DC, and this and that, and pro-Palestinian, anti-Israel, and Vice, and people are burning brain cells and patients and getting aggravated with one another over things that truly don't matter in the current scheme of things. All right. As I shared with you some time ago, there is an invisible quicksand that is moving in and in and in and up around our ankles. Okay? And there can be a whole laundry list of these things. And while we're visually watching for this to come over the mountain and for that to come over the mountain, and so said this and so said that, this digital world of threat continues to escalate and move in to the point where it's here. There's some who believe that we're already in a police state. Could argue that point. But it's things that are going to have a greater impact on you than there are important things to watch in regards to Israel. From a spiritual side of things, I get that, and I agree. But you also need to pay close attention to the things that are occurring here at home, what your government is or isn't doing according to your expectations or what you're being told, where our money's going and not going. There's a whole laundry list of things, okay? And prior to taking the trip and coming back to you now, many of these things were starting to be like a bingo ball in my head. And I had all these letters, like I was trying to keep my feet grounded, and it's like there were far more letters in my bingo ball than should be, where typically I'm getting those letters out and putting them where they need to be. So in a short sense, I needed a break, but in the big scheme of things, I needed to just recalibrate and get my feet firm on the ground again. So that's it, kind of in a nutshell. I would encourage you to pay close attention to natural occurrences. I've been talking about it for 2 years, been pointing it out, been recommending sites to go watch. But there's more and more natural occurrences occurring around us that are out of the norm. Okay, so I've ran on here long enough, and I just wanted to reach out and say hey and share this information with you. I didn't go AWOL, and all's good. I got home Saturday, Saturday evening, checked the garden. Sunday, headed out on Tuesday. Green beans are up, potatoes are up, sweet potatoes are up, onions are good, squash and zucchini are good, blackberry bushes are looking good, blueberry bushes are looking good. And so that side of things is progressing forward. Hopefully life is going to slow down here in the next couple weeks, and I can slow down and focus more on preparedness, the garden, and so forth, and not be traveling so much in a day job. So you all take care out there. Keep grounded the best you can. If you feel you're being overwhelmed, you need to pray about it and step back. Give yourself a little bit of a break. The world's not going to end because you weren't there to clickbait someone or something. Okay, your mental health is critical in the days, weeks, and months going forward. And only you're going to know when you need to step back and take that break. Okay, so take care of yourselves, and I'll try to speed up some videos here on YouTube, and keep on preparing. The family I visited out in Oklahoma, it was uplifting to see how they have it going on, how focused on preparedness they are as a family, the things they're getting done, the things they're seeing and monitoring, and most importantly, of putting their faith in their family first. And that was on the far end of the trip before coming back towards the east. That was a huge positive, kind of a bonus, and it was very uplifting. And again, I appreciate them, and I appreciate their time, and appreciate their prayers as well. So if you like this video, please click like and share it with someone that it may be of some good for, someone who may be struggling a bit. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and help us continue preparing and helping others. One last thing real quick that I also observed on the trip, I forgot to mention, sorry, was out in public places, the number of conversations I listened to of people around me who were talking about what's going on in the world right now, and so forth. Now, I don't know if they're preparing, but they are talking about things are not normal, and they're going in the wrong direction. So with that, I'm out of here. Be blessed, and don't forget to give thanks in all that you have and all that's around you and for your family. Bravo Echo out.